Are you like us? Tired of all the politically correct horseshit on podcasts and in the media? Need a podcast that's funny, smart, and gassy? It's not politically correct. It's just correct. This is the Carolina Underground. Throw that middle finger in the air. Raise them up. Because it's time to get loud, proud, and in your face. Generation X. Generation X. The best generation of all time meets the grit of the South. It's about everything and nothing at all. From current events to woolly boogers to movies to politics. Loud, brash, funny, and never, and I do mean never, predictable. The Carolina Underground with Mark and Mike.
Yo, 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 it's the Carolina Underground, and we're back again, coming to you live from the Replica Bat Cave, and I'm broadcasting with my partner in crime somewhere deep in the dark depths of Sparkleberry.
Well, we're back to only 2 yo-yos. That must mean you hadn't got quite enough of the coffee in there.
Well, you know, there's a reason why we only had 2 yo-yos.
Uh-oh.
Because they all up in New York City and New York State.
There's a whole lot more yo-yos than just 2 up in New York City.
I have, you know, and I'm not a Republican, and I'm not a Democrat. I don't like Joe Biden. I'm not real fond of Donald Trump. Let's just put that out there to start with. But I agree with some other people that New York City and New York State have officially declared themselves the biggest shit.
I would take it a step farther and say that they have declared themselves enemies of the Constitution and of the United States justice system. And just basically everything that is good in the world. I mean, my Lord.
Well, and you know, I think on our last episode, we happened to touch on something about New York City. And I told you back then on that episode, you know, I have been to New York. I have seen New York. And if it came to either living in New York City and my home was in hell, I would sell the house in New York City and go on home because it's about the same thing. So, whoops,
well, yeah, again.
Whoops, that was generally already.
Well, I mean, again, this is the thing. I mean, and it, you know, I mean, Fulton County, Georgia ain't any better because you got people, Letitia James, you got Fannie Willis, and you got,
now, Letitia James is New York.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, Alvin Bragg. And all 3 of them ran on the platform of
getting Donald Trump.
Get Trump. Okay.
Well,
not on a platform of we understand that you people have questions and we're going to get to the truth, but on the platform of we're going to get Trump. And there is the, you know, I don't give a rat's ass about who it is that you're trying to get with the legal system. It is not supposed to be a cudgel that you use to beat people over the head with. Justice is supposed to be blind. Justice is supposed to be impartial.
Right.
And justice is supposed to be repeatable. So what these people have done at this point is if you get an assessment from the tax assessor, okay, you damn well better tell them, oh, no, don't value my property at 80% of its value. I want you to value it at 100% of its value so that I can maximize the amount of taxes, because that's the first one that he was convicted of, is falsifying how much Mar-a-Lago property was worth so that he could pay off the bill.
Well, and that right there always
Or get a
kind of,
loan,
well,
rather.
that always kind of baffled me, because the Deutsche Bank did its own due diligence and
Of
had
course.
its own numbers, which any
Of
bank
course.
should. And if these
Absolutely.
people in New York are too stupid to understand that, then no damn wonder people knock down your damn morons.
No, it's just, there are so many things. Okay, so the point again, and you are 100% correct. And I mean, I think it's everybody that has a D beside their voter registration on their name at the very least. Now, I'm not saying there aren't some dummies that have an R beside their name as well, but if there is a single vote cast in the United States for anybody on the Democrat Party after this fiasco, then congratulations, you are a traitor to your country. Period.
Well, on this most recent trial, Donald Trump were coming in on the heels of him being convicted on, I think it's 34 felony counts.
Well, no, it's not 34 different felony counts. It's the same felony count 34 times.
Well, what I'm trying to get to is it's actually in the state of New York is a misdemeanor.
Right.
But it got elevated to a felony.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the people in New York heard in court. Evidently, hearing it in court is different than reading the daily transcripts, because that's what I did. I read the transcripts. And then when it came back that they said the jury asked to hear, they got to hear the testimony of David Pecker and all them people. Mm-hmm. That's an unfortunate name. Yeah. That is an unfortunate name. But anyway, I digress. But evidently, either their ears ain't attached to their brains or something, because I did not get that there was a crime out of listening to either one of them talk. And if you want to talk about Mr. Cohen,
mm-hmm.
the guy admitted to embezzlement and theft on the stand. Right. So why is he not being prosecuted for that? And I didn't hear anything that was damning or anything that was a smoking gun that would convict anybody.
Well, again, that's exactly right. So, I mean, if anybody committed a crime, it was Michael Cohen. So basically what they said is that in the eyes of the justice system of New York, that if you were to hire, let's just say if you were to hire a lawn care professional because mm-hmm. you had dead spots in your grass, and that, you told him, look, fix the lawn, it's got to be pretty, okay? And he went to the local hardware store and stole a bag of feed and seed. You are his accomplice.
Right.
Now, he committed the crime, but all he has to say, according to New York, is, well, he made me do it. Okay? And I never heard nor read nor saw a single bit of evidence from anybody besides Michael Cohen, who admitted to embezzling, who admitted how much he hates Trump and wants to see him in jail just because he didn't get whatever he wanted.
But he was great with Donald Trump when he was on the payroll.
Oh, no, absolutely. Okay. And so there was never one iota of evidence that Trump even knew what he was doing. He probably knew what he was hired for, and somebody probably recommended Michael Cohen as a good fixer. I don't know. From what I heard, he recommended himself as a good fixer. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you make a mistake, now, of course, we all know beyond a shadow of any reasonable doubt, they will never attempt this nonsense with anybody else. The only reason that they did this was
because this is politically motivated, and Donald Trump was 100% right that this is a witch hunt, and that's all you can glean from this. Both
Well,
of the,
again,
all of I could see a case maybe for the one in Atlanta, but because I haven't really read the evidence, but on the glean of it, there could be a possibility. But these two cases right here, particularly the one with these judges
oh,
in
absolutely.
New York,
Hmm.
these people are these are the epitome. These judges are the epitome of what we have been talking about of government bloat and ticks
Hmm.
hanging off a dog's ass.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, again, the amount that they attempted to fine Donald Trump for taking out a bank loan and paying it back.
With
Okay, so
interest.
again, yeah, with interest. Now, again, the other thing is the whole purpose of collateral in a bank loan is the bank does not want your collateral. They want the money back.
Right, exactly.
All they're doing is looking at it and going, well, yep, this person has purchased and built up properties to this level. There's a really good chance he's going to pay it back. They don't care what the value of the property is, and they said as much. And
Right.
that everybody does this all the time. They look at it and they go, well, this guy's got a good record of paying stuff back. Okay, and they said there was no victim. Now, but in that case where he was convicted of taking out a loan and paying it back, okay, um, he the fines were based on the amount of money that had been raised by his campaign to prevent him from being able to run. Well, I mean, I can't say that that's the reason, presumably, because why else would you pick that specific number? It's a pretty doggone specific number.
Right.
Okay. So, I mean,
And at
again,
some point, you have to look at it and say, does this not border on cruel and unusual punishment?
oh, it's beyond that. Again, justice delayed is justice denied. Okay. And all of this stuff they're doing is in a complete and total attempt to prevent. I will be very surprised if they do not sentence him to house arrest or some form of probation and an extended gag order, because their intent is to keep him from being able to, okay, because he is the presumptive nominee for the Republican
Right.
Party.
And
There is no doubt about it.
sentencing comes down like 4 days before the convention.
Right. And again, the other side of that coin is, of course, the libertarians have, instead of choosing Robert F., who would have been a decent candidate, a decent president, and as a decent man, they chose Chase Owens, who is an
I
admitted
ain't never heard
trouble.
of him.
Oh, he's a piece of work. Read up on him. So we're stuck with Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And they know beyond a shadow of that doubt you cannot put Donald Trump and Joe Biden on the same stage and allow him to mop the floor with him, because Joe is 4 years more senile than he
Well, the
was
problem
in
is
2020.
not only that, but Joe Biden can't be put on the same stage with a teleprompter and
No,
not get his ass kicked.
no. I mean, again, Trump could just sit there and let him talk, and he
But
would
I
be
will say this.
great.
If anybody was ever going to challenge me and tell me they was going to take me out behind the woodshed,
They better do it.
if I'm going to be honest with you, I hope it's Joe Biden, because I'm going to whoop.
Yeah, no, they better do it. I mean, again, if they tell me they're going to whoop my ass, they damn well better
Oh,
do it.
yeah. And I don't think Old Man Rivers got it in him.
No, he doesn't have it in him. And I mean, again, I don't blame him. I really
Actually,
don't.
though,
I blame all the
I
people. Well,
don't.
I do to a degree.
I
I'm
blame
sorry.
him. I also blame the people of Rhode Island or Delaware. Excuse me, Rhode
Delaware.
Island. I don't mean to denigrate you people, but Delaware, because they know what kind of person he is, being a plagiarist and
Oh,
everything else, and a
he's
racist. He
a
doesn't want
plagiarist.
his children to grow up in a racist jungle. That is
Right.
exactly what the man said on the
Yep.
floor of the U.S. Senate.
Well, and his mentor was one of the biggest racists in the entire, he was big on this whole critical race theory nonsense, which came straight from the Nazis, by the way.
Well, it's nothing. What is it? Eugenics? That's essentially what it
It
is.
is. It really is what it is. It's well, not it. Well, eugenics is the genetic makeup, and that.
Well, if you listen to what Joe Biden says, that's essentially what he's referring to.
Oh no, he absolutely is. I mean, again, the man is he has been 100% wrong about every political decision that he has made in his entire career. So, I mean, again, at
Well, I'll
what
do you
point?
one better than that. I don't think he's ever made a decision because I think he's too stupid to make one. Even when
Well,
he supposedly have his faculties, I am almost 100% sure somebody was making his decisions for him.
oh, I have no doubt. But I mean, again, if you read Orwell, okay, he talks about the fact you never see the puppet masters. It really is like an actual puppet show. You never see the puppet masters because if people could see the puppet masters, then somebody could kill them. So the people that you actually see are the puppets. They're the ones that are whose strings are being pulled. They're the marionettes. Okay. And I do highly recommend reading Orwell at any given point that you can because he was a brilliant author. But I mean, again, at this point, if all of both the Democrats and the Republican Party do not unanimously demand that the Department of Justice undo this absolute travesty in both cases, then, now I'm sure there is some sort of machinery by which they can look at it and go, this is absurd. This was not a fair trial. This was not a jury of his peers. I'll bet I'd be willing, I want to see how many of these people were given some sort of lucrative book deal or something like that by the Democrat Party. This thing stinks to high heaven. And it is absolute. I mean, this is as bad as the whole Russia collusion hoax and the dossier that was used to subvert
Mm-hmm.
the FBI's and the Department of Justice's systems to to spy on Carter Page and Donald
Mm-hmm.
Trump and everybody else. Okay, and everybody, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. That would never happen. Well, it was proven by their own dadgum people, for God's sake.
And
Okay, now
in
how
the
much more does it take? Go ahead.
in the parts that you wouldn't even thought that it would have been by Anthony Weiner with
Yeah,
his wife's emails,
right.
Habiba Jehubadan or whatever her name is,
Yeah.
that was referring to this. This is just absolutely crazy, and they walk scot free
Oh yeah,
with no
absolutely,
repercussions. If it would have
absolutely.
been us, a regular everyday Joe citizen, they would have thrown you under the jail.
Oh
And
yeah,
the only
absolutely.
reason that they're not able to bully Trump's because he has the money to hire lawyers. But in this case, I agree with Alan Dershowitz. I think his lawyers were just as in on the situation as anybody else.
Well, now I haven't heard that, and I have a lot of respect for Alan Dershowitz.
Well, Alan Dershowitz told, I think it was the headline was he said you should fire your lawyers.
Well, I don't know what to say about that either. But I mean, again, the first thing that I'm going to say is there is enough there is enough money out there and enough people in power that do not want Donald Trump in the White House again, that that's what makes me want him in the White House. Well, that and the fact that I really don't like 20% inflation, and I'd rather, a carton of eggs didn't cost a week's salary.
Dude,
Okay.
I just ordered groceries here at the
Right.
Replica Bat Cave because we don't live off of insects and stuff like bats does.
Hmm.
And, most of the time I'm buying for one person
Right.
because
And one dog.
And well, baby dog, that's a different story. She don't get her store stuff from the grocery store. Her stuff is human grade, handmade, and whole nine yards.
Mm-hmm.
She's better than I do, but I order pretty much the same thing every week.
Okay.
So I look in the history and I'm looking at the thing, and now every once in a while, there's an extra something or something like that.
Right.
Since Mr. Biden put office,
Mm-hmm.
before he took office, my average weekly grocery bill was $74.
All right.
I am getting the exact same items every week.
Mm-hmm.
My grocery bill that I just placed
Mm-hmm.
is $218.
I believe it 100%. I mean, I really do.
Well, I mean, it's the
And
truth. I mean,
yeah,
I looked at the purchase history and went back because I didn't start getting it delivered from online until right before COVID happened.
well, Mike, what do you expect? Missiles for Ukraine are expensive. You got to shoulder the burden for those Ukrainians, which, as I recall, was a part of the former Soviet Union,
And
but
absolutely none of our business.
and absolutely none of our well, I mean, except for the fact that we did start the war, we caused it. Okay, so, but that's neither here
How
nor
did we
there.
cause it?
We caused it
Because we
by
elected Joe Biden?
inviting, yeah, and Joe Biden and the war hawks at NATO invited Ukraine to join NATO. Now, NATO was designed to to provide opposition to the United Soviet Socialist Republic and the Warsaw Pact
And the
countries.
last time I checked, none of them exist anymore.
That's right, they're both gone. And so, again, the whole problem being that, Ukraine, the Donbass region of Ukraine which is what Putin took from Ukraine, is they've always considered themselves to be a part of Russia. And it's also the choke point for the only freshwater ports that the Soviet Union has in the winter.
Right.
So I mean, again, I don't want to trivialize the whole thing, but we caused it.
Well,
Okay.
and hand in hand, that goes with the situation in Israel as
And,
well.
and when I say we, I mean the federal government of the United States caused it.
Right. Well, right. Exactly. But this goes hand in hand with the stuff in Israel because I've been seeing on social media, all eyes on Rafah.
Right.
Well, you know what? My eyes are on Rafah too. If the Palestinians are all up in arms because the Israelis are in there stomping Hamas like the bunch of cockroaches that they are,
Mm-hmm.
and they're mad because they can't get aid or anything like that, the people they really need to take a look at is Hamas.
Oh, absolutely. But that won't feather their political nests.
We've spent $320 million on a floating pier, and it works
Right.
just as good as the Obamacare website.
Oh, absolutely. I have no doubt of that. I have no doubt.
No, it's hard. They reported it's falling apart.
Oh, I have no doubt.
But here's my thing.
surprised me in the least.
If I hear one more person, I stand with Hamas or Palestine or whatever the hell it is. If you are so stupid that you stand with an organization that is a terrorist organization, and if the people that live in these areas, if Islam is such a religion of peace, why do you not denounce these people? Why do y'all not rise up and run the jackasses out?
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
But what you want to do is you want to claim this is just a money grab like everything else. You want to claim victimhood like everybody else because it's been taught that's what's been exported by America around the world is victimhood. And instead of taking personal responsibility because you and your religion put these people in power, you were getting free food, free gas, free everything from Israel, and then you continue to allow these cockroaches to function and then go into Israel and kill people. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. If it pisses people off that I believe that every one of them should have a bullet put between their eyes that's a member of Hamas, then they can just be pissed off because I really don't care.
Well, no, and I'm gonna say I'm sorry. I'm not sorry to say it at all. I am here, and I agree with you 100%. This is one of the things. Okay, the whole purpose of a government and a military is
To
to
defend the
tell
nation.
people don't mess with us. And Israel does a wonderful job of that. And so if you come in to my house, and I had stopped for a while wearing my concealed carry at all times, but now I'm doing it again because the United if this nonsense is allowed to stand, the United States is done because they're
Well,
not
you know, you
prosecuting
and I have
criminals.
been talking about. I have considered the American experiment over for a couple years now.
Right. Well, I hope deep in my heart that we're going to be able to pull this back. But again, one of the things before I get into this, now, I mean, again, if you come into my house and you even threaten my dog or my cat or my son or my girlfriend, I promise you that one of either you or I am going to wind up with a trip to the morgue.
In a to-go
Period.
bag.
In a to-go bag. All right. And I intend for
Well,
me to
yeah,
be the
I will
one that
add
walks away.
one extra thing to that because if they break in here and tried to harm me, but
Mm-hmm.
moreover, they tried to harm the little baby dog,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you right now, you better hope God has mercy on you or Allah or whoever you pray to because they ain't never going to find you.
Well, and that's one of the things I just dearly love about these left-wing lunatics. So you see these women out there wearing no bra and midriff short shirts and, yoga pants and sandals, screaming that they're in support of Hamas, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have, put a what is it, a hijab, what is it, the outfit that covers them from head to toe. Cover yourself up. If you believe and are supporting this nonsense, you need to be wearing as a burqa, right?
Burka.
You need to
Yeah,
be
I think
wearing
the
the whole
hijab
bloody
is
thing.
the headgear thing.
Right, whatever. I mean, I don't know. Cover yourself up because that's what you're asking for. And these queers for Palestine and all of that stuff, go in there and try to be a homosexual in an Arab country and see where it gets you. What it'll get you is it'll get you beaten to death and thrown off the top of a high
Building.
building and
Yep.
killed. Okay? And I'm not saying that to be mean. Okay? I don't care who you want to sleep with. I don't care what color hair you want to wear. Okay? It's just it's one of those things that, how they used to talk about how you didn't have to worry about the content of movies and you didn't have to worry about the contents of songs because
Right.
people were smart enough to figure it out. Well, I believed that right up until the Tide Pod challenge, where these people, these idiots were putting a dadgum detergent package in their mouth. Okay. We got people out there that are too damn stupid to pay, to even understand what it is that they're screaming about. And yeah, go ahead.
You've seen the movie Tombstone.
Oh, absolutely.
And after the gunfight at the OK Corral,
Right.
I believe it was after that, after Morgan got shot and all this, to where he said there was no live and let live with these people.
Yep.
And I'm beginning to feel that way.
Yep. Oh,
I am a firm believer that my number one God-given right is the right to be left alone.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you continue to want to call down thunder, I'm going to do you this. I have gone through and looked at the people that I do business with. And if they have if they are a New York based business,
Mm-hmm.
I will not buy, and I will not sell, and I will not do anything with them. Period. End of story. I will not give any of my money to anything in New York to where they can siphon tax dollars off of it to perpetuate the travesty that continues to happen every day. You've got people dying in the subways because the cops don't protect anybody. You've got illegals all over everywhere beating cops to death and stuff like that. And they're worried about how many millions of dollars did this cost to prosecute Donald Trump? Twice.
Right. Well, and the guy with the machete, and I think it was a McDonald's, and they're talking about Donald Trump as the top story. Now, okay, I'm going to say
all Congresses
here. Go ahead.
All Congresses and parliaments have kindly feelings for idiots.
Oh, they absolutely
it's true.
Are idiots themselves.
Well, and a compassion for them on account of personal experience and hereditary.
But I'm going to say a couple of things here. First thing I want to say is this.
I'm not counting soapboxes tonight.
No, but I understand. One of my friends asked me, because I'm prior military, okay, and I was in prior service in the military. I say that because you're never ex-military. You take an oath to protect the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and then you were never released from that oath. Okay, and he asked me if it was disrespectful to fly the flag of the United States upside down, and it is most certainly not. Flying a flag upside down is done when you are in jeopardy. Okay. Now, our nation is in jeopardy. Now, typically, what you would do is if your fortress or your position were in jeopardy, you would fly it upside down, okay, to signal you're
in distress.
Yeah, that you're in distress. But the whole nation is in distress at this point. So don't get your knickers twisted unless you're an illegal alien or a treasonist if you see somebody flying their flag upside down. As a matter of fact, I think everybody flying a flag should be flying it upside down and at half-mast for the passing of the justice system of the United States. Okay, that's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to let you chime in because I can't remember my second and third thing because I'm so mad I can't see straight.
Well, I agree with you. I for a long time now, my patriotism and enthusiasm behind the term American has waned.
Oh, absolutely.
And as we have said on previous podcasts, I have never really considered and do not consider myself an American. Right. I am a North Carolinian. So goes North Carolina. So goes I. Mm-hmm. And I honestly am at the point now to where I do not personally believe that America that I grew up in and was born in exists anymore. It's just like the saying on our show, the world we grew up in has ceased to exist. We are now nomads in a no man's land.
Well, and that's absolutely true. All of this, the world that we grew up in, and people think that this all happened all of a sudden. This has been going on since Richard Nixon.
Right.
If not before. You and I have talked about that. I really think has been going on since the end of the Eisenhower administration. But
right, really began getting perpetuated with the assassination of President Kennedy.
And this is the thing. I don't care if they got a D beside their name or an R beside their name or whatever. Again,
if I don't either, because D beside their name, R beside their name, or an I beside their name, I call a fuck.
Well, but the thing of the matter is, everybody in the state legislatures and everybody in the federal legislature should be raising total hell at the Department of Justice right now to get their ducks in a row and stop this one, this two-tier justice system, because the same people that are telling you nobody is above the law are the ones that are holding themselves above the
Well,
law.
I will.
And that whole stuff's got to
My
stop. That
comment
was the
on
second
that is this.
soapbox.
Well, we're not counting soapboxes today. This was your
I know.
episode.
I know.
You
Go
squeaky
on,
clean, baby, squeaky clean.
hit me. I'm listening.
Well, I done forgot what I was going to say now.
Well, then let me say the other
Okay,
thing.
go ahead.
In every dadgum state legislature and legislator should be drafting articles of secession if the Department of Justice cannot be brought back to the impartial entity that it is supposed to be, where you're not judged by the color of your skin or by how much money you make or what political party you are in.
Mm-hmm.
You are judged by whether or not you have broken the law of the land.
Well, and while some people disagree, I can consider secession the ultimate checks and part of the ultimate checks and balances. We have been taught and kind of told since the Civil War the idea of secession was settled, but actually it wasn't.
No, it was not.
Well, because if you read what Salmon P. Chase said and wrote, one of the reasons why they never tried Jefferson Davis, who was the president of the Confederacy, as a traitor, was because they were deathly afraid that he could prove that secession was a right and legal under the Constitution as it is written and under the compact of the states with the federal government.
Well, it is. It is a compact of the states. That is the end result of this. And if we cannot have faith that the justice system of the United States is not corrupt, which we have just had proven uncategorically that we cannot. Okay. Well, again, this Justice Department has declared parents to be domestic terrorists because they don't want their children exposed to pornography.
Or the approval of deadly force when somebody is searching Mar-a-Lago. And then he swears up and down, Mr. Garland swears up and down that it wasn't authorized, but yet there's papers and notes and memorandum that show that it very clearly was.
And again, this is the whole thing. You were supposed to be innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Beyond a reasonable doubt. That is a heavy burden of proof.
But I'm still waiting on somebody to explain the difference to me of Joe Biden having documents stored in his garage around his Corvette. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump having them in Mar-a-Lago. There ain't no telling what, because I'm going to tell you, if you start looking at Barack Obama, I'll guarantee you, that rascal looks like a criminal. He talks like a criminal. There ain't no way he's squeaky clean. That he has done, other than the fact that I don't think he's an American citizen.
But he has, you'll hear people say all the time, there were no scandals. He has more scandals during his tenure.
Fast and Furious wasn't a scandal?
Yeah, than any other president.
So, but now wait a minute. We get now. I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
I'm old and my brains don't work like they used to. Okay.
I understand. I'll give you a minute.
So I'm thinking about this, and this was what $130,000 to Stormy Daniels is what precipitated all this, and how it was reported as a legal expense.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
which an NDA is a legal expense.
Right. Well, and I get that, but here's what I'm saying. This was $130,000.
Right.
The Paula, whatever her name was, chick that with Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
She got 800. She got 800,000. So when are you going to prosecute and indict Bill Clinton? He lives in New York.
No, absolutely. Again, this is the thing. Okay.
Hell, that Paula woman got $800,000. All Monica Lewinsky got was a used cigar.
Right. Well, here's the thing. I mean, again, if the Department of Justice were prosecuting Hunter Biden the way that they just prosecuted Donald Trump and Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer and Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, et cetera, the list goes on.
Now, be careful with them Clintons. I don't want to wake up dead.
Oh, I know. I don't either. I really don't
like
want
their
to have
partners in the Whitewater
back of the head twice. Yeah. But the point of the matter is that, you know, every one of these, every state should be in process of demanding that the justice system rectify this nonsense. And if they are not, then they are not on your side.
Well, they're not on our side anyway, because there is no distinct American criminal class other than government.
No, absolutely. And so you need to keep that in mind when it's time to go to the ballot box and get rid of every one of these useless leeches, because that's all they are.
I'll tell you what, it is time. I think it's past time for an actual convention of the states.
I agree.
And I think that there's enough Republican governors, and I'm not 100% sure, but if the Democrat governors don't want to partake and don't want to be in it, then the Republican governors should do what they need to do if it's a majority, since majority rules. I think the document that a lot of people forget that still is kind of legal precedent is the Declaration of Independence. When a government's not working, it's a right and a duty of somebody to cast it aside and create one that works better for the people.
Exactly my point. And we should be, and it's one of the things I was thinking, another thing that we ought to be calling for is, a variant of the blue flu, and we can call it the red, white, and blue flu. So everybody should just call in sick. We'll pick a day and call in sick and go to our local state house and stand on the doorstep and ask them, why have you not done something, because it's your job? And ask them why there's not a convention of the state.
Well, now I have written a letter. Well, it probably ain't going to do anything, but I've written it to my representatives here in North Carolina, and both state and federal level, wanting to know what they can do to assuade and assure me, as a citizen of the state of North Carolina, that if I participate in a federal election, that the results are not tainted.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
I will say this: North Carolina has started this year, after many wranglements and battles with the federal government. ID is required to vote now in the state of North Carolina.
I really, really wish I could say the same thing about South Carolina. Unfortunately, the last thing I've heard about South Carolina is that our wonderful legislature is handing out voter registrations to illegal aliens. But Governor McMaster has opened an investigation into the matter, which means nothing will happen. And so, I mean,
sounds like Governor McMaster's is a boil on the butt of humanity.
And that has been my opinion of him through most of his tenure. He is, if he is absolutely the very definition of a rhino, in my opinion. That man has not got a conservative bone in his body. So we're running long, and I could
we're not all that long, really. We're in line with our time. It's just this is not really, truthfully, when the trial started, I believe I told you back in a few episodes when we were starting about that they were taking him to trial, that I told you then they were going to find him guilty.
Oh no, I knew absolutely. And again, my thing is their goal is to prevent him from being able to campaign and draw crowds because they don't want the visual evidence that there are more of us than there are of the lefties. And I'm not talking about liberals because we've talked about this
Right.
before.
It's
Compared to our
right.
parents, we would be considered liberals.
Oh,
Not
I would be definitely.
Yeah.
I'm a liberal compared to you.
I know, but we still get along, and I get along with liberals.
Well,
I
the only
don't
thing
get
we
along
don't
with
where
lefties.
we don't get along is you just jealous because I'm so good looking.
I'll let you keep thinking that. I do like your monkey better than mine. No, I don't. I like my monkey.
Ooh, careful there. Careful there.
No, my monkey picture on the website. My goodness.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute now. Wait a minute.
My Lord.
Hey.
Yeah.
You can't never tell.
No, that's true.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's just official. If you want to travel to a shithole, you ain't got to go to some third world country. Just go to New York City and New York State.
Yep. Absolutely. It's an absolute travesty.
And with that, just be smarter.
Yeah, don't eat Tide Pods. And if you eat Tide Pods, just stay home.
And then and just live by the phrase, damn, brother, I don't believe I told that. And with that, that's the snout to the curly tail and everything in between. And if you're a New Yorker, and we've gone.
Good evening.
All right, you crazy bunch of motherfuckers. Wait, can we say mother? Anyway, you've been listening to the Carolina Underground. It isn't politically correct, it's just correct. Our motto is, if you can't go balls deep, don't go at all. Actually, that's not our motto, and I'm sorry, I don't even know what that meant. All right, we gotta go. We hope you enjoyed the show. And if you didn't, we hope it really pissed you off. Follow us on Twitter at Carolina UNDGRND Underground, get it? Or drop us an email at Carolina UNDGRND, get it? At northstate.net. We want to hear from you. Y'all be cool. See you next time on Carolina Underground.